today for an initial permanency hearing, and the court will recognize that the department is present, represented by Mr. Mike Knight and joined by Ms. Sandra Lopez and Ms. Maria Fernandez. In addition, Mr. William Asari is here as the attorney for the respondent mother, Shelby Carruthers. I don't believe I see Ms. Carruthers on the call. Ms. Rita Morales is here as the attorney for Mr. Isaac Collins, who also does not appear to be present. Mr. Michael George is here as the attorney for the unknown father, who is not present. And then we also have Miss Marianne Featherston here on behalf of CASA of B County. Miss Amy Gonzalez, who is the guardian ad litem, has had a death in the family and is not present. Miss Michelle Jones, who is the attorney ad litem for the child, has also had a death in the family and is not present today. I think we may be able to go forward despite their absences if everyone else is ready to give a report and a summary of where we are, both with Levi and the participation of the parties. Is there any objection with moving forward? I do have Ms. Gonzalez's report and this time. So, all right, we'll go ahead and get started and get an update. Ms. Lopez, I'm assuming we'll get that from you. So I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. And once you've done that, if you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Knight, I'm going to turn it over to you and allow you to proceed.
Your Honor, by way of announcement, we have been unable to locate the DNA sample regarding the alleged father, Mr. Collins, within the system. So we will be filing a motion for requesting an order of paternity testing on him. He's in custody, so we know where to find him.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Lopez, can you tell us how the mom is doing on her service plan?
Mom has the only things that mom has completed are her domestic violence awareness class, which was completed in February, and she completed her psychosocial as well as her psychological evaluation.
Now, in regards to psychological evaluation, did it raise any concerns?
Yes, there was a statement in the psychological that had concerns from mom being able to, for her ability to exercise her duties and responsibilities as a parent due to her diagnosis of autism and her borderline intellectual functioning.
So basically, the psychological raised concern for her long-term viability as a parent, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And in regards to the family plan of service, basically she does not have in-person visitation, is that correct?
No, sir, she has not.
And she has virtual visitation, is that correct?
Yes, sir. She has virtual visits twice a week.
And since that was ordered, how often, I mean, what's her attendance rate on the virtual visits?
Mom has not complied with virtual visits until recently. And some of those virtual visits that she has participated in recently, there have been technical difficulties with those virtual visits.
Now then, I'd like the record to reflect that Ms. Carruthers is present now, Your Honor.
Yes, she just joined us. Thank you.
And has there been any, how's a child doing with visitation as it stands right now?
I was notified on Friday that Levi becomes very agitated after virtual visits. He states that he needs to go home to his mom to help her clean up dog poop and clean bugs. Foster mom has voiced concerns about his behavior after the visits because one of the statements that Levi made was that Shelby was going to lock him in a room and beat his ass. So those are very concerning statements that were brought to our attention by foster mom.
Well, basically, Isn't it true the child expressed some concerns because mom has missed some of the virtual visits?
Yes.
And what concerns has he expressed?
That Shelby doesn't love him, and Shelby doesn't want to see him.
And that's not unusual for a child of that age, is that correct? Given the circumstances?
No, sir.
Okay. And are you recommending any changes to the visitation as it stands now?
No.
The visitation was restricted because of failure to drug test, is that not correct?
It was restricted because mom tested positive for methamphetamines on a hair follicle on January 6th.
Okay,
And since that time, she has not submitted to any drug tests.
and but for clarification purposes, the department has requested follow-up drug tests, is that correct?
Yes, the department has requested follow-up. Drug testing has offered to transport Ms. Carruthers to drug testing. Some of the excuses Ms. Carruthers has provided to the department is that she was busy or she had to clean her room. On Friday, she stated that her frontal lobe was hurting, so she did not know if she could go or not. And Ms. Carruthers did not contact me that she was going because I have to go to the clinic to verify who she is, since she has no identification.
Thank you, pass the witness.
Let me turn to Mr. Asari. Do you have questions for Ms. Lopez?
Yes, Your Honor. Just a few questions. Is the child still in the Houston area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And has the department continued to search for placement options in Beeville for the child?
Yes, sir. The department hasn't been successful in Closerville due to Levi not being potty trained. However, foster mother has been working on having him potty trained.
Okay. Now I know in the past there was a Miss Stephanie Kelly that was considered for placement. Has the department spoken with her recently?
No contact has been made with her since the attempts at the status hearing.
Okay. Now I know back then, Miss Kelly, it sounded like she wanted to put placement on pause because one of her kids had an illness. Had the department followed up on that?
Not since the adversary hearing, when Ms. Kelly did not respond to the efforts made by the department. We left telephone messages, and I went to her home. I texted her and I sent her a letter, and no responses were received from her.
Okay. Would the department be willing to try to continue to get in touch with her, since at least at one point she's indicated that she would like to be placement, and she just never had stated that she no longer wanted to be placement?
If the court orders us to, then we will follow up with it.
Okay. And do you know if Ms. Carruthers has any relatives in the area who could take in her son?
She has not provided any other names of possible placements.
Okay. Okay. And as far as the virtual visits, it looks like there's been some that have been missed. It looks like some visits have been missed. But is it safe to say that some of those visits were missed due to technical issues, either on foster parent side or on Ms. Carruthers' side?
There was probably 4 or 5 that were because of technical difficulty.
Okay. Okay. And do you know if Ms. Carruthers has a reliable internet at her home?
She does, and she's been offered to come into the office to do some virtual visits here if her internet is not working. And she's come in probably 4 times to the office to do so.
Okay. How did she get there? How did she get to the office?
She walks.
Do you know how long of a walk that is for her?
No, sir. I do not. However, Ms. Carruthers is seen fairly often walking throughout Beeville to get to where she needs to go.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Mr. Asari. Ms. Morales?
Thank you. Have you had any contact with Mr. Isaac Collins?
No, ma'am.
And when was the last time the department reached out to him? Do you recall?
I believe it was in January.
And he's been provided any information regarding upcoming hearings?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it still your understanding that his projected release date is 2089?
Yes, ma'am.
And has he reached out to the department?
Not since January.
Okay. What was it he was questioning or wanting information on?
He had stated that he did not want Levi to return to Ms. Carruthers. It was in a letter, and he stated that she was not able to take care of Levi.
Okay. Can you forward a copy of that letter to me?
Yes, ma'am.
And did he provide any alternative placements for Levi?
He had stated his mother, who lives out of state, but didn't provide any additional information.
Okay. And you don't have his mother's contact information or name?
No,
Did he provide any other information, any other potential placements?
no, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. George, any questions from you?
No questions of this witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Knight, any additional questions for Ms. Lopez?
Ms. Lopez, what is our goal at this point in time?
The department's goal has changed due to Ms. Carruthers' non-compliance with her family plan of service. And the primary goal is unrelated adoption, and the concurrent goal is unrelated conservatorship.
And the current placement, if Humpty Dumpty cannot be put back together again, is the current placement a forever home?
Currently, they're not. However, when speaking with foster mom, she indicated that they are willing to consider adoption of Levi, should it come to that.
Thank you. Pass the witness.
Right. Since Ms. Carruthers is here now, what can she do to change your assessment of her compliance? What would be the most important thing for her to do to get engaged and show you that she's capable of caring for Levi?
She would need to submit to her drug testing as requested, continue to participate in counseling or keep her counseling appointments when they are made, and to continue to attend her virtual visits, continue to seek stable, adequate, safe housing for her and Levi.
Okay, and then at this time, has Ms. Carruthers submitted to any drug tests since the beginning of the case?
She only submitted to a drug test on January 6th. And since then, she has not submitted to any drug tests. Her urine screen was negative. Her hair follicle was positive for methamphetamines. And she also stated last month was her last, that she last used methamphetamine. However, the department cannot confirm that due to her not submitting to requested drug testing.
Okay. Can I ask, is there a service plan on file for Mr. Collins?
No, ma'am. One was not completed due to his length of incarceration.
One
All right.
follow-up question to your question, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Lopez, what is the term of incarceration that Mr. Collins is facing?
I believe it's over 60 years for multiple counts of sexual.
And those would be 3G offenses, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So he would be required to serve at least half of his sentence before he would be eligible for parole. Is that also correct?
Yes,
And that's based upon your experience as a probation officer for
yes, sir.
over 20 some odd years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So under any version of the facts or circumstances, he will not be around.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, pass the witness.
All right. Any other witnesses, Mr. Knight, that you wish to call?
No, Your Honor, department rests.
All right, Mr. Asari.
Yes, if I can call my client, Ms. Carruthers.
All right, Ms. Carruthers, can I get you to unmute yourself, ma'am?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Carruthers.
Good morning, Mr. Asari.
Now, you had a little trouble logging in for court this morning. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
it's due to the weather. The weather's bad here.
Okay.
Sometimes it causes friction between the calls. So
Understand. And you use your phone to log in for the hearings?
yes, I do.
Okay. And do you use your phone for your virtual visits? Well, to try to do your virtual visits?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, is it common for you to have trouble logging in for
Yes, it is.
court and virtual visits? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Is it due to problems with connection
Yes.
problems?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And your phone, is that your only source for, logging in for stuff?
Yes.
Okay. It's not like you don't have a computer at home, right?
No.
Okay. And so as far as internet use on your phone, it's kind of in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not consistent.
Yeah.
Okay. So because of the inconsistency with your phone service, which your connectivity, had you missed some virtual visits because of that?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And how about your class? Now, you're coordinated to take some classes and do some counseling, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you do those classes and counseling in
Yes, I do.
person or?
I do one of them virtual. I do the others. I did the other one that they required in person.
Okay.
The one
Now let's
that
talk
they
about.
required in person, I have a certificate for that.
Okay. Well, just briefly, let's talk about the one you have to do virtually.
Yes.
Okay. Are you having a hard time appearing for that counseling or classes virtually?
Actually, me and the counselor both are because of the connection.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then the one you were doing in person that you have a certificate for,
Yes.
what type of class is that?
That was domestic violence, which they had me undergo.
Okay. And the one you're doing virtually, can you tell us what type of class that is?
That's drug and alcohol.
Okay. Do you have do you do a parenting class?
I'm trying to work on that too. I've been working on everything.
Okay. And
I could
for
do
the
that one at the
parenting
purple door. I could do that one at the
Okay.
purple door, the parenting class.
Okay. Now, as far as the parenting class, is that done virtually or in person? Do you know?
It'd be in person if it's at the purple door.
Okay. How close is the purple door from you?
It's in Beeville. It's at the college.
Okay. Is that because you have to walk to get everywhere, right?
Most of the time, yes. Sometimes my friends have.
Okay. Would that be a long walk for you? Uh-oh. Ms. Carruthers, were you able to hear my last question?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, to the purple door, would that be a long walk for you?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. And as far as getting rides from friends, is that a dependable option for you, or it just hit or miss?
Sometimes it's dependable, depends on if their cars are running or not. 'Cause sometimes their cars have problems or whatever.
Ms. Lopez talked briefly about your drug test results from January,
Yes,
and there was a hair follicle test, and you understand the results for that test?
yes, I do.
Okay. Do you disagree with the results?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you use drugs, Ms. Cruthers?
No, I do not use them, and I can say personally that I have witnesses that could say I don't.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Do you have an idea why the results said what it did say?
Because people smoke around me, that doesn't necessarily I smoke.
Okay.
That doesn't mean necessarily I smoke.
Okay. Now,
There's
are
a
you
difference between. There's a
okay?
difference between, Mr. Sorry.
Certainly, certainly. Have you removed yourself from that environment?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you don't got people smoking around you no more, right?
Nope.
Okay, okay. Uh, now, would you be willing to drug test again just to, set the record straight?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I guess it's just a matter of the department getting in touch with you to coordinate that for you.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Um, is there anything else that you wish for the court to know at this time?
Actually, there's a lot I wish for the court to know at this time.
Okay, let us know.
For instance, I have issues with them even trying to speak to my son because I told them I did not want them speaking to him. They went against my wishes.
Okay. Who did you not want to speak with your son?
The department,
Okay.
because they're trying to turn him against me, and that is a typical practice they use.
Any other concerns that you wish to address to the court?
Yes. Before the last court date, Sandra was in a hurry, and I had my sister walking with me, and apparently she was a witness to this. Sandra was going a little fast, and she almost ran over me twice in the same place on 2 different days. My sister's a witness to back it up. And there's camera footage.
Okay. Any other concerns that you wish to address with the court?
Yeah. The way she talks to me sometimes, the way Sandra talks to me, she's a bully. I don't
Okay.
tolerate bullying in the slightest.
Okay. Okay.
And because I was raped, I do not really like the way she said one time to get in her car. She demanded, she did not ask.
Okay.
Because I was raped, that was a red flag for me.
Okay.
She makes me feel unsafe, is what she does.
Okay. Okay. Anything else you wish to address with the court?
If so, there we go.
I feel like my
Oh, sorry.
rights are being violated as well.
Okay.
And
Anything else?
And I am autistic. I'm not unintelligent by any stretch of the imagination. So there was no search warrant when they took him. We were asking them to provide it. They did not provide it. It was on private property with no trespassing signs. We have evidence of that. So.
Okay. Okay. Your Honor, those are all the questions I have at this time. I'll pass the witness.
All right, does anyone else have questions for Ms. Carruthers?
No questions, Your Honor.
No questions.
All right. If not, thank you, Ms. Carruthers, for your testimony. Let me ask if there's any other witnesses, Mr. Asari?
No other witnesses, Your Honor.
Any other witnesses from any other party this morning? I guess it's afternoon now.
Department closed, Your Honor.
All right. Does anyone wish to address the court at this time? Mr. Knight?
Your Honor, I don't believe any argument is necessary. I would like to have another hair follicle test to try to give Ms. Carruthers an opportunity to prove her position.
All right, thank you, Mr. Knight. Mr. Asari, anything from you?
Yes, just briefly, Ms. Carruthers has testified that she's willing to drug test again to set the record straight on this issue. Given some of the concerns that we've heard through testimony today, that there may be a disconnect between the department and my clients. I don't know if perhaps another family group conference might help in this situation. But also it sounds like a lot of the missed appointments, the missed classes and counseling sessions have largely been due to very limited resources here. My client has very limited cell service, access to the internet. She lacks transportation. She lacks assistance with getting a ride here and there. So there's a lot of with these lack of resources. There's been a lot of concerns with consistency for services and visits, and even the visit. Her son being so far away, all the way in Houston, without adequate transportation, it presents the opportunity for in-person visits. And my concern is that efforts to try and find more local placement has kind of died down here. So I would ask that the department re-engages with contacting Miss Stephanie Kelly about whether to confirm placement there, or to maybe take a more strong approach at finding more local placement here. It's been a while since my client has seen her son, and it's largely due with just lack of resources, lack of an opportunity to get up there to see her son. So it's just a lot of concerns here, and I just don't. I just want to make sure, especially given everything that was mentioned in the psych eval, I just want to make sure that all efforts are made to address those concerns, to make sure that keep services going, and also keep contact with her son going.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Asari. Ms. Morales or Mr. George, anything from you?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, then, based on the testimony the court has heard today, the court does find that Levi's current placement is meeting his needs in all aspects, and that continuation of that placement is in his best interest. The court also finds that there would be a continuing danger to his physical health and emotional well-being if he were to be returned home today. The court finds that Ms. Carruthers is not in full compliance with her plan of service, that Mr. Collins, and that no parent, for that matter, is in compliance with a plan of service. But the court does feel like a family group conference would be appropriate in this case, to sit down and to go over the family plan of service once more, to make sure Ms. Carruthers fully understands what she's being asked to do, and if there are any issues or obstacles preventing her compliance or engagement, to address them, including transportation and plans for assistance with transportation if that's needed. I also am ordering that Ms. Carruthers submit to regular hair tests. I'd like those done monthly, on a monthly basis, and hopefully that can address the concerns that you raised, Ms. Carruthers, and also allow the department to have regular feedback regarding that issue, because we've missed a bunch of drug tests that would rule that out as an issue. So I think we definitely need to do that from this point forward, is to have the regular drug tests in addition to monthly hair tests administered by the department. And hopefully we can make progress in addressing that issue. I do think a drug and alcohol assessment would be appropriate at this time to consider the need for any additional services in that area as well. So I'm ordering that for Ms. Carruthers too. As far as the visitation, should Ms. Carruthers submit to drug tests regularly, as we've discussed today, and get engaged in her counseling services, I'd ask that the department work with her to supplement the virtual visits that she's having with in-person hearings if there's that level of compliance, and to develop a schedule for those, understanding that we have significant travel issues. I'm going to just mute you there so that we can just get through the hearing at this time. In addition, I want that FGC to address once again any potential relative or fictive kin that could be considered for placement for Levi as well. So those are the issues that I want addressed at the FGC. In addition, I'm ordering the department to facilitate paternity testing for Mr. Collins so that we can address paternity conclusively as part of these proceedings as well. We are going to be back for another permanency review before final order. Ms. Carruthers, it is my duty to admonish you, which means I need to tell you at every hearing that the state of Texas gives parents in your situation 1 year to show the court your ability to provide Levi with a safe, stable, drug-free, and violence-free home. And if you're unable to do that within that span of time, your rights are subject to being restricted like they are right now, or terminated, which means cut off altogether. Okay? And we'll be back, as I mentioned before, I think that was on the 13th of June, and that was at 11:30 in the morning. All right, well, thank you all. If there is nothing further, all parties are excused.